There is an ocean of everything you want: success, power, and the most satisfying relationships. It's all available and waiting for you. This is The Zone of Action with your host, Jerold Action Jackson.
This podcast is about the real money is behind the curtain. Wealth comes from ownership, not popularity. A lot of people grow up believing that the only path to massive wealth is through sports, music, movies, or entertainment. We see the headlines, we see the contracts, we see the jewelry, the mansions, the private jets, and the social media lifestyle. So naturally, people start thinking the only way to become truly wealthy is to become famous. But the truth is, fame and wealth are not the same thing. And one of the biggest misconceptions in modern society is believing that entertainers and athletes are automatically the wealthiest people in the room. In many cases, they are not. The people who often make the most money are the ones who own systems, the ones who own the businesses, the ones who own the teams, the ones who own the studios, the ones who own the distribution, the ones who own the brands. That changes everything. And once you understand that, your entire mindset about money starts to shift. You begin to realize that your future is not limited by your current profession. You begin to understand that you do not have to dunk a basketball, throw a touchdown pass, rap on stage, or star in movies to create extraordinary wealth. You can build, you can create, you can own, you can scale. You can develop systems that work for you long after your physical labor ends. That is where real wealth lives. Look at the billionaires connected to entertainment and sports. Almost every single one of them translated their fame into business. Every single one. Jay-Z did not become a billionaire because of album sales alone. Music opened the door, but business built the empire. Liquor brand, streaming ownership, investments, real estate, partnerships, and equity created the wealth. Michael Jordan did not become a billionaire because of his NBA salary. His business partnerships, ownership stakes, and the Jordan brand built generational wealth. The shoes became bigger than the basketball career. Dr. Dre didn't become a billionaire simply from making records. It was business. Beats by Dre changed everything. Ownership changed everything. That is the pattern. The public sees the performance. The wealthy focus on the ownership. And this is why building your own brand matters so much. Your name matters. Your reputation matters. Your consistency matters. Your discipline matters. The story people tell themselves when they hear your name matters, because a brand is not a logo. A brand is not colors. A brand is not a fancy website. A brand is the emotional reaction people have when they hear your name. Think about that for a moment. When people hear your name, what story immediately enters their mind? Do they think integrity? Do they think professionalism? Do they think excellence? Do they think consistency? Do they think positivity? Do they think discipline? Or do they think drama, inconsistency, excuses, lateness, chaos, and emotional instability? That story becomes your currency. A strong brand creates opportunities before you even walk into the room. A weak brand closes doors before you even get there. This is why protecting your mind and protecting your reputation is so important, especially today. We live in a world where distractions are constant. Everybody wants your attention. Everybody wants your energy. Everybody wants a reaction out of you. Social media rewards outrage. Drama spreads faster than wisdom. Foolishness gets more clicks than discipline. But emotionally reacting to every attack is expensive. Very expensive. Some people destroy million-dollar opportunities because they could not control a 5-minute emotional response. One bad decision can damage years of hard work. One public meltdown can cost endorsements. One impulsive action can hurt your family, your business, and your future. That is why powerful people learn emotional control. When you truly have power, you do not have to constantly prove it. When you truly have confidence, you do not need to scream it. When you truly have wealth, you stop trying to impress strangers. Calmness is a form of power. Discipline is a form of power. Silence is a form of power. There is a reason some of the wealthiest people move quietly. They are focused on protecting the asset. And the greatest asset you have is not your car, your house, or your jewelry. It is your mind. It is your reputation. It is your ability to think clearly and make smart decisions consistently over long periods of time. That is the real asset. And the people who become extraordinarily successful understand something most people never fully grasp. They understand leverage. Most people trade time for money. Wealthy people build systems. There is a difference. If you stop working and the money stops completely, you are still trapped in a cycle. You may have a good income, but you do not yet have freedom. Freedom comes when systems continue producing income without your constant physical involvement. And businesses do that. Ownership does that. Brand equity does that. Investments do that. Intellectual property does that. This is why so many athletes eventually move into ownership, investments, technology, restaurants, liquor companies, production companies, clothing brands, and real estate. They understand the game eventually ends. Athletic careers end. Tours end. Hit songs fade. But ownership can continue for generations. And here is something else people need to understand. Hard work alone is not enough. Now, let me explain that carefully. Because hard work absolutely matters. Laziness destroys potential. Discipline matters. Consistency matters. Sacrifice matters. But effort alone does not guarantee value in the marketplace. That is a painful truth many people struggle to accept. A person can work extremely hard on something nobody wants. You can spend years perfecting a product that nobody values. You can dedicate enormous energy to something that solves no real problem for people. And the marketplace will not reward effort just because effort was involved. That is not how economics works. People get paid in direct proportion to the value they provide to others. That is the reality. If you want to increase your income, you must increase your value. And not only increase your value, but increase the number of people receiving that value. That changed everything. A person digging one hole in a forest may work very hard. But if nobody needs the hole, the market does not care. Meanwhile, someone who solves a major problem for millions of people can create enormous wealth. The marketplace rewards solutions. It rewards convenience. It rewards efficiency. It rewards transformation. It rewards emotional connection. It rewards trust. It rewards results. That is why branding matters so much. People do business with people they trust. People support brands that make them feel something. People remember consistency. People remember how you made them feel. This is why some people with average talent become wildly successful, while others with tremendous talent remain stuck. One person learned how to package, market, communicate, and scale their value. The other simply focused on effort without understanding leverage. And leverage is everything. The goal is not simply to work harder. The goal is to create more value for more people in less time. That is how businesses scale. That is how wealth multiplies. That is how freedom grows. Technology has made this easier than ever before. Right now, a person can build a brand from a cell phone. A person can create podcasts, online courses, digital products, communities, consultant businesses, subscription platforms, newsletters, content channels, coaching businesses, or e-commerce companies from almost anywhere in the world. We are living in a time where access has exploded. But access without discipline means nothing. A lot of people have opportunity but lack focus. They are distracted every 5 minutes. They quit too early. They chase trends instead of building foundations. They spend more time looking successful than becoming successful. That is dangerous. Real success is usually boring before it becomes exciting. It requires repetition. It requires consistency. It requires delayed gratification. It requires patience. And patience is becoming rare. Everybody wants overnight success. Everybody wants fast money. Everybody wants instant visibility. But long-term wealth is usually built slowly, intentionally, and strategically. Most billion-dollar companies were not built in 6 months. Most powerful brands were not built overnight. They were built through years of discipline, adaptation, setbacks, learning, and strategic execution. And another thing people misunderstand is this: visibility is not ownership. Some of the most visible people in the world are deeply in debt. Some people look rich, but are financially fragile. Meanwhile, there are business owners nobody recognizes who quietly can control massive assets. Never confuse attention with wealth. Never confuse followers with ownership. Never confuse popularity with freedom. Ownership matters. Cash flow matters. Equity matters. Assets matter. And protecting your peace matters too. Because if your mind is unstable, your decisions become unstable. That is why successful people become extremely protective of their environment. Who you spend time with matters. What you listen to matters. What you consume mentally matters. Some people are addicted to chaos and then wonder why their life stays chaotic. Some people constantly surround themselves with negativity, gossip, drama, and foolishness, then wonder why they cannot focus long enough to build something meaningful. Energy matters. Focus matters. And focus is becoming one of the most valuable skills in modern society. The people who can focus consistently for years will dominate. Not the loudest people, not the flashiest people, not the most emotional people, the most focused people. And if you really study high achievers, you begin noticing patterns. Most of them are calm. Most of them are strategic. Most of them understand timing. Most of them protect their image. Most of them avoid unnecessary conflict. Most of them think long term. That long-term thinking changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I make money today? They begin asking, how can I build something that still produces value 10 years from now? That is a different mindset. And when your mindset changes, your actions begin changing too. You stop chasing temporary applause. You stop trying to impress people who are not helping your future. You stop reacting emotionally to every little thing. You begin thinking like an owner. You begin asking bigger questions. How do I scale this? How do I systemize this? How do I create recurring income? How do I build leverage? How do I protect my reputation? How do I create value at a higher level? Those are ownership questions, and ownership thinking changes lives. This is why personal development matters so much. Reading matters. Learning matters. Expanding your mind matters. The average person dramatically underestimates how powerful knowledge can become when consistently applied. Every new skill increases your value. Every improvement in communication increases your value. Every improvement in leadership increases your value. Every improvement in emotional control increases your value. Growth compounds. That is why the people who continuously learn often separate themselves financially over time. And let me say this too. You do not need permission to build something meaningful. You do not need to wait for perfect conditions. You do not need everybody to believe in you. You do not need validation from the crowd. Most visionaries were doubted in the beginning. Most successful people were misunderstood early on. Sometimes people cannot see your vision because they have never seen anyone around them do it before. That is okay. Keep building anyway. Stay focused anyway. Stay disciplined anyway, because eventually results speak louder than opinions. And when you truly begin building your own brand, your own systems, your own value, and your own ownership opportunities, something powerful happens. You stop thinking like an employee trapped by limitations. You start thinking like a creator. You start understanding that wealth is not reserved for a special group of people. It is built through discipline, strategy, patience, value creation, emotional control, branding, relationships, and ownership. That is available to more people than they realize. The problem is most people never stay focused long enough to build it. They get distracted, they get emotional, they get discouraged, they quit too early, or they spend their lives consuming instead of creating. And creating is where freedom begins. So if there is one message I really want you to understand from all of this, it is this. You do not have to become famous to become wealthy. You do not have to be an athlete to build an empire. You do not have to be an entertainer to create financial freedom. But you do have to think differently. You do have to increase your value. You do have to build something scalable. You do have to protect your mind. You do have to protect your reputation. You do have to develop emotional discipline. And you do have to focus on ownership. Because at the highest levels, ownership changes everything. The people who own the brands, own the systems, own the distribution, own the companies, and own the intellectual property eventually control the wealth. That is the real game. And once you understand the game, you stop chasing attention and start building assets. You stop trying to look rich and start trying to become financially free. You stop focusing only on income and begin focusing on equity. You stop reacting emotionally and start moving strategically. And most importantly, you begin understanding that your greatest investment is not in trends, hype, or temporary applause. Your greatest investment is in yourself, your mind, your discipline, your reputation, your value, your brand. Protect it, build it, grow it, because the same ability to create wealth that exists in billionaires exists in human beings everywhere. The difference is not potential. The difference is focus, discipline, emotional control, vision, and execution. And the beautiful thing about all of this is that you can start today. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter, JeroldJax on Facebook, Jerold Action Jackson and Zone of Action. Check out the website, JeroldJackson.com. Happiness starts with you, not with your relationship, not with your job, not with your money, but with you in the zone of action.